candles and silverware around. In another tale, a bride-to-be was preparing in the tavern for her ceremony. During all the preparation, nobody noticed a candle had set fire to a curtain. The flame turned into a fire that quickly engulfed the room and then the whole building. The young woman died in the fire, which also badly damaged the structure. Even today, visitors say her blurry white apparition is still dressed in her wedding gown and can be seen on nights with full moons. Next up at number 9 now, we have the Wildwood Cemetery. They say that there are 2 sides to this cemetery, a light side and a dark side, split right down the middle. When night comes, which side is which becomes very clear. On the light side, it's said that you can see fairies. Yeah, actual fairies. They won't harm you at all. On the bad side, though, things are very bad. People have reported seeing hellish creatures. A famous one is the Shrieking Banshee, who won't stop wailing until you leave the cemetery. Some have reported hearing voices and banging coming from tombs which were sealed a long time ago. There's a statue there that's said to cry and change positions at night. There's also a large mausoleum designed by a fireman who was so scared of being buried alive when he died in case he came back to life. He designed it so that it could be opened from the inside, but not the outside. Well, locals have reported seeing it open and close, and I think you know what they're thinking. Moving on to number 8 now, we have the Goblin of Easton. This is a well-known Pennsylvanian ghost story. This is a retelling by S.E. Schlosser from AmericanFolklore.net. There was once a monk at the mission who loved money and power more than he loved God. He would hear the confession of the good folk who attended the mission and then would blackmail them into giving him gold and silver to keep their darkest secrets. He turned away a wayward sinner's feet towards the fires of hell rather than the gates of heaven, encouraging their crimes in secret while he reviled them in public. It was after he beat one poor old woman to death that the evil monk was imprisoned and sentenced to hang for his crimes. But just after he was cut down from the noose and pronounced dead, his corpse began to transform before the horrified eyes of the people. The face twisted and small tusks sprang from either side of his nose. His shock of white hair grew long and greasy, and 2 pointed canines emerged from his slit of a mouth. The goblin monk opened eyes that glowed yellow even in the light of the noonday, and sprang to feet that now ended in claws rather than toes. The people screamed and fled, and no prayer of his former brothers in faith could banish the goblin. It disappeared deep into the forest, only to return at night and prey upon the monks of the mission who had been responsible for his death. After 5 of the brothers had fallen to the goblin,
this is America.
The monks abandoned the mission and moved to another part of the country. Since that time, the mission house has slowly fallen into ruin. Next up at number 7 now, we have the 7 Gates of Hell. Helen Township was founded in 1739 in Pennsylvania. On the surface, it looks like a pleasant little town. Legend says that it features 7 portals to hell.
You got that, you got that splash.
Fire at an asylum which allowed dangerous inmates to escape. Many of them were recaptured, beaten, or killed. Others
this is America.
Inside a series of gates which they still haunt to this day. The first gate is actually visible by daylight, but the others require night. By passing through all 7, a person can end up in hell. Locals say that nobody
America.
through 5 portals and live to tell the tale. That might sound like a record that needs to be beaten, but I would advise against it. Moving on to number 6 now, we have the Bus to Nowhere. This is a more modern urban legend that tells of sorrow, depression, getting lost.
I can't even. I thought you missed.
In Philadelphia, there is a bus that appears only to those.
No, don't do it. Don't do that. No.
Alone after an awful tragedy has happened in their lives.
Good job, David. Good job. What a sell.
Totally alone in this world without a shoulder to cry on. In their darkest moment,
I told you not to do it, nigga.
The person will get on and see other passengers staring out of the window as if in a trance. The bus promises to take you away from your pain so that you never have to feel it again. That's who the passengers are, people who chose the bus over their own painful reality. If you don't remember to pull the cord though before it's too late, the bus will add you to its permanent residence. Once a passenger gets off, they will have no memory of their time on the bus, but the memory and the bus could return for them once more. Next up at number 5 now, we have Congelia Mansion. This is often referred to as one of the most haunted houses in America. In 1871, the mistress of the house discovered that her husband had been cheating on her with their maid. She flew into a rage and stabbed her.
Something,
She seemed to have saved most of her wrath for the maid, whose head she cut off. After the brutal murders, the house was vacant for about...
Says the name, everybody 3's.
To own it. Anyone who tried to live there would soon leave due to the creepy sounds of a woman sobbing and occasionally screaming. At the turn of the century, the house was bought by a doctor. Now, he seemed normal at first, but eventually, locals found out he was using the house as a base for his twisted experiments on both the living and the dead.
Oh, he's a
the
slasher.
reputation of this dark house grew so much that even
he is a
Thomas
98
Edison
though,
came to study it. In 1927,
and
it was destroyed in a gas explosion. That hasn't stopped paranormal investigators from visiting it, though, who believe that dark
energy found
there. Coming at number 4 now, we have Charlie No-Face. This is also known as the Legend of the Green Man. In West Pennsylvania, many years ago, a boy called Charlie climbed a high electric pole to try and see into a bird's nest. He got tangled up in the cables, though, and was horribly electrocuted. He fell to the ground. His friends ran over, and immediately they started screaming. Charlie's face had practically melted. All of his features were gone. His eyes, nose, mouth, and ear, and even one of his arms. The electrocution had also turned his skin a sort of pale green colour. The doctors thought he would die that night, but Charlie survived. He led a tragic life, though, and was feared by his own community just because of how he looked. As a man, Charlie took to living in abandoned houses in the town. Local teenagers would walk down the highways near his home, hoping to see him. It wasn't until after he died that people realised that Charlie No-Face was partially based on the true story of Ray Robinson. I suggest googling that name if you want to find out more. Next up, at number 3 now, we have the Storm Hag. Now, according to legend, a demon lives close to Presque Isle Peninsula, and she's called the Storm Hag. She is hideous.
Wait, you know what to do. I'm alright. He gonna follow me. I'm gonna cut. I got
skin, sharp, pointed teeth, which she uses to peel the skin off her victims. The teeth
both of them,
giving her a less